Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, welcome to a windy Monday, the 26th of September here at Giga Texas. I'm going to first talk a little bit about the DMG MORI machines that we saw in my previous video inside the casting machine structure. So we'll go through that first here in the video, and then we'll wrap up with a few thoughts before we get into the main video.
During my previous video, I showed you interior looks of the casting machine structure, and in addition to the gigapresses, we saw these two large pieces of equipment that have been installed, and you can see with the arrows here. I also was able to reposition the drone on the north end to look inside, and as you can see on the left-hand side, here are those two large pieces of equipment that have been installed. So let's discuss a little bit about what these are and why they are here in the casting machine structure. Now, over the past month in some of my videos, I've shown you the delivery of the components for these DMG MORI milling and turning automated machines. There's about 1,000 of these machines that have been installed worldwide, and from this graph you can get an idea of the physical size of the items that this machine can handle, and also the weight, up to 10,000 kilograms. And this is part of the DMG MORI company. You can see the link at the bottom of the screen for more information. Also, I'll have that in the video description. So I thought I would provide a few pieces of information about these machines here. These are milling and turning machines. They use a direct drive table, and it has torque up to 10,200 Newton meters, or about 7,800 foot-pounds. And these provide service quality and technology integration grinding. You can see that they have maximum accuracy through water-cooled feed drives for the components that go through this system for milling and other modifications. These offer very high performance with high dynamic feed of about 60,000 millimeters or 60 meters per minute. They're also available in a mill and a turn version for these equipment depending on the customer needs. The efficiency of these are very good. They use low energy consumption throughout, and they also combine up to 243 individual tools within this minimized footprint. So it gives a lot of flexibility to the manufacturer. Here are some examples of the types of applications that they might use for these milling machines. Spiral bevel gears for engineering, some aerospace compressors, automated turbocharger housings, machine beds, and here at Giga Texas, structural components. I believe that this is why they are located here in the Gigapress or the casting machine structure, to help with the final machining and milling of casting machine components, possibly for Model Ys, probably also for the Cybertruck. I hope you enjoyed this brief overview of the DMG MORI milling machines, why they're here at the casting machine structures, and most likely what their uses will be here for Giga Texas and the future products.
Well, I hope you found that information about the DMG MORI milling machines in the casting machine area helpful. And also, one more thing I want to point out, a change today, and that is on the body in white roof. As you see in these images, they've now cut a large section of that roofing out, and it looks like nearby there's some ventilation shafts that they'll be installing in this particular location. So yet another change here at Giga Texas. Again, it's very windy today. You can probably see with the camera. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I hope you have a great week. Take care.
A special thank you to all of my outstanding Patreons for your continued encouragement and support. Patreon members get access to hundreds of high-resolution photos, previews of the future material, and direct dialogue with me. If you would like to support my channel, please consider becoming a patron using this link, which is also in the video description. Please also consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. We'll start off this morning on the east side. It's a bit breezy and windy, but otherwise not too bad to see what's going on today. You can see this trailer location on this clearing. It continues to be used for materials. We also see just near the trees 2 more of the DMG MORI milling machines, it appears, and these have been here for a little bit of time, so continuing to monitor to see when they get moved inside. We also see the continued expansion of loading docks and or receiving docks that are being cut into the walls on this side of body in white, and also how the east side main entrance appears. I'm going to pull the drone back to show you some developments on this small parking lot and where the helicopter pad is located. Specifically, as we continue to fly a little bit further to the north, you'll see a newly paved area near the main road. It's kind of in this hook section right on the right-hand side of the screen. This is new, and it provides a new access point into this parking lot. And otherwise, I have not seen any helicopters using the helipad, but I'm always watching out for that. So let's proceed over to the roof section of the body in white. I do want to show you a new development that is going on, or specifically a couple of developments. The first is you can see all of these crates that are on the roof. These are all more solar panels that have been delivered and now distributed on this part of the roof. So it looks like they may be getting ready to expand the solar panels on this section. But also you'll see there's a area of the weatherproof membrane of the roof that has been removed here, and also some of the roof decking to open up into the body in white, at least on this section of it. Up to the upper left, you can see some of those ventilation ducts. I think they may be installed here, so it might be a change with the HVAC system. And you can see those ductworks that are being temporarily stored here in that general vicinity. So something to watch out and see how it develops. I'm bringing you in close to this side of the stamping machine structure to show you all of these deliveries on the ground. Some of them are wrapped in green, some of them in blue, and some in crates on the left-hand side. Now all of these are marked AIDA, and AIDA is another manufacturer of stamping presses and other large metal bending or manipulating machines. And I believe that all of these components that you see just going underneath the drone and we were just talking about are slated for that stamping extension and we mounted on top of that new isolation foundation that we've been tracking over the last several videos. Here's another change that's going on the south end, this concrete ramp. You'll note that there's a lot more Model Ys that have been constructed or produced and now are being stored in this section. Almost all of them appear to be black and white with a few grays. People have asked me if I noticed any white interiors, and I have not yet. But for whatever reason, they are using this section of this concrete lot to store all of the new cars temporarily. And we'll take a look at the east side staging location in a bit too. Also, note all of these crates that have been delivered to the south end of the building. It appears that they're being lifted and up to that loading platform into the second floor of the General Assembly. So another large section of production equipment that has arrived and is being moved inside for installation. I'll fly over to the western half of this concrete lot so you can see how the Model Ys here appear, and also this section that they've been doing demolition work on the concrete. Most of this sort of trapezoidal shape is now removed with concrete. There's just this small section where the device is working to break up the concrete. But otherwise, no real progress since my last video in this particular section. Now here we see the paint work on the southwest corner, at least for this section, has been completed, and it looks like all 3 colors, the darker, the lighter grays, and the white. So maybe that is the particular kind of pattern that they'll be using throughout the rest of the building. I don't know, but I'll continue to monitor that. I'm going to fly along the west side of the General Assembly just so you can see how the receiving docks are today, with all the trailers and trucks and all of these ramps being used to move more and more materials inside. There are some developments here on the west main entrance I will show you. First, notice that on both sides of the doors there's a ramp. These still look like temporary ramps, so it may be for a function coming up. Also note all of the doors are wrapped in that white and red material, suggesting that there's some more construction that's going through this area and they want to protect the glass. I'm going to pivot the drone over to the wall that they've added here into the berm. You can see all of the trees and vegetation that's being arranged for installation. Quite a bit is ready for the planting, and it looks like there's a bunch of stakes around this section as well. So we'll probably see the planting commencing very soon, but it looks like quite a bit that will be decorating this particular location. So let's continue flying north along the west side of General Assembly. Again, just looking at all of the trailers that are lined up at the receiving docks, just showing a lot of activity that is going on inside. Also, these new docks here, it looks like one trailer, but they continue to be used quite a bit. And I wanted to take a look at this fenced off section to see if there's been any changes. Usually they have some equipment stored here, but not really much to see. So let's get ready to go up onto the roof and take a look at what's going on up there. We're approaching the northwest corner. We see the HVAC ducting and enclosures. Still not much change since the last time we've taken a look at that location. I'm going to fly sort of towards the east along this section of the roof so you can get an idea of how the north end of the building appears and what's going on the roof and the parking lot. I'm also going to pull back a little here on the east side of the casting machine structure to reveal all of the castings that are continuing to be made and then stored here temporarily before being moved over to the body in white. You can notice all those white racks. Most of them are now empty. Some of them still on the north side have the castings, but this continues to ebb and flow as production continues and then as more parts are moved for construction of the Model Ys. But as you can see, there's still quite a few of these castings, and they just continue to be built and stored temporarily on this side of the building. Some viewers have asked why do they store them outside. That I don't know, but I do know that they do the same thing at the other Gigafactories, so it seems to be part of their normal process. As you can see, there's a lot of work going on between the parking lot and the road with more of the plumbing. So that's that dirt that you see with the sidewalk. You can also see a lot more of the componentry, the red, the white scaffolding that's used for production, for machines and robotic assembly machines to be installed. You can also see still quite a bit of these green wrapped items that are part of the modular paint system, and also for some of the air filtration and heating and ventilation, and also VOC, volatile organic compound removal processes. You can see more deliveries going on as well. Over at the 4680 battery cell production section of the building, you can see the two temporary ramps are not really getting a lot of work this time of the day, but they always are getting deliveries, so it wouldn't surprise me if you see a little bit more a little later today. So I'm going to fly to the north. You can see the cyber berm. There's workers preparing and installing more of the conduits for lighting, and hopefully we'll see that completed pretty soon. But let's fly further to the north up over the electrical substation and megapack construction area to see what's going on today. As you can see, there's a lot of activity going on the main construction site of the electrical substation, particularly this location where the forms and the rebar has been installed in the last 24 hours. You can see the pump truck with the two cement trucks feeding in concrete to it. They're getting ready to pour the concrete. And the end of the day, this should be completed. This is the first major structure in concrete on this construction site. On the left-hand side of the screen, you also see the water detention pond and work continuing with the drainage pipes on the north and south end. Also, on the left-hand side, you'll see the road has been reestablished over that large drainage pipe, the concrete one that drains off to the east side. A lot more of the materials continue to be stockpiled on the main construction site as well. This is all in preparation for the assembly of all of the various componentry, the racking systems, the various poles, and then the electrical components for the electrical substation. As I pan the drone to the north, you can see those two circular mounts for the new steel power poles. On the left-hand side, also, you can see the two recently completed ones on either side of these steel power poles. You can see workers preparing the last of the mount on the left-hand side. We should see soon some of these large steel pole components starting to arrive on the site, and then we'll know that they're going to be installing those pretty soon. So as I pull back towards the battery cathode plant, this gives you an overview of how the electrical substation construction site appears today. We've now arrived at the battery cathode plant. We're on the east side looking to the west. And as you can see on the south end, quite a few more wall panels are being installed, and a second very large yellow crane has arrived on site. This is very important to see because this means that the rate of concrete wall installation is going to be accelerating. And you can see quite a few more of the panels have been delivered on those flatbed trucks near the bases of the cranes. On the south end of the building, you can see more of the wall panels, and the receiving docks are starting to take shape, and the wall panels now are on the 5th level of the installation. Those would be individual concrete sections. But as you can see, there's continuing to prepare to move more of the concrete wall panels up onto the building. And then as we proceed further to the north, you can see more activity on all of the floors, the mezzanine and the stairs on the 3rd floor, the preparation of more wall panels interior on both the 2nd and 3rd floor, and you can see the studs and also some of the wall panels being installed. As we approach the ground floor section here, this is where these deep foundations are being prepared. Looks like there's been a little bit of rework here as some of that yellow moisture barrier has been pulled away. Haven't had any rebar installed there as well. On the 2nd and 3rd floors here, you can see quite a few more of those metal studs for the interior walls have been installed. And on the ground floor, you can see the workers are very busy installing quite a bit of the rebar for this another heavily reinforced ground floor section. This is also open partially all the way through the 2nd to 3rd floors in this particular area, so it suggests that there's going to be some large machinery, possibly another furnace, as part of the lithium hydroxide production processes in this section. But I'll continue to monitor that. You can also see the yellow forms on the ground for that perimeter grade beam is almost reached the north end of the building. I'm going to move the drone to a little bit farther north just to show you how the clearing location is continuing to transform up on this section, and as you can probably tell, it's continuing to get more and more flat. Due to the winds, I really couldn't get farther north today, so hopefully as the winds die down, I'll be able to revisit farther north and see how that is transforming. I'm going to wrap around the north towards the west side of the battery cathode plant so that we can see how this side is continuing to transform as well. One of the first things you'll notice is that the clearing is continuing to widen, specifically towards the Martin Marietta plant on the right-hand side of the screen. So this entire section is going to be flattened out, and it's either going to be a very large parking lot, a material storage lot, or maybe a combination of both. The left side of the screen, you can see the temporary platform for both the second and third floors are now completed, and they're using it to move materials up into those floors for continued assembly. This material storage yard continues to change as parts are moved inside the building and more arrive. You see a lot of the man lifts continuing to work on the wall panels and also HVAC ducting and the steam pipe installation hanging from the upper floor of the roof. And you'll see more of the interior walls getting finished out on this section of the building as well. So again, a lot of progress, and it's very quick that's going on here at the battery cathode plant. With these views, we see how the warehouse on wheels yard is continuing to see trailers move in and out, and that's part of the process necessary to support the production, and it's based on the concept of the warehouse on wheels, which we've covered previously. I'm pulling the drone back over to this particular section because I want to show you what appears to be maybe a new foundation, maybe a temporary foundation based on the blocks that they're using to sort of give form work to the dirt that they're installing. There's like a little trench down the middle here as well. I'm curious to find out what this is for. If you have any ideas, I would like to hear your thoughts in the comments of the video. Also, as I pull back, I'm showing you this particular section of the eastern material storage because next to those red and white trailers in the bottom left of the screen, this is generally where the boring tunnel is supposed to have its initial drilling take place. And then across, directly behind the drone on that sort of small island near the cell tower is where the exit would be. It's a little bit too far for me to go out there today because of the winds, but anyway, it's interesting and something to keep track of. This view gives you a really good overview of the eastern side where the contractor trailers, material storage, vehicle storage, and other activities are going on. Coming into view right now from the left to the center of the screen is the new section that has been added and has had a lot of the earthwork and gravel work installed, as you can see, in kind of that triangular section, so that they can move more and more materials and equipment and some of the workshops and trailers here to clear out the rest of the east side for continued construction. I'm going to fly a little bit towards the west and pivot the drone towards the north so you can get an idea of how this whole section appears and where it is in relation to the battery cathode plant in the upper right hand corner of the video. I'll give you a closer view to this earthwork that is continuing in this part of the eastern lot. Now, I believe that this will eventually be part of the continued expansion of the warehouse on wheels, and it will continue to allow more and more trailers into this section working towards the south. But we'll continue to monitor that as well. I'm going to give a closer look at the east side new vehicle staging and transportation lot. As you can see, there's not as many of the Model Ys here as we've seen in the last several videos. We also saw quite a few of them on the south side of the building, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but there may be some sort of process alteration or change that's going on, or maybe it's related to how production ramping is going. But anyway, it's a very interesting thing to note. So I'm going to continue to fly the drone up a little bit higher to give you an overall view of this part of the building, and we'll fly up towards the north to kind of reveal a much larger section of the overall construction site and where the factory is in relation to many of the items that we've discussed today. I hope that you enjoy this view. I hope that you enjoyed the discussion about the DMG MORI milling machines that were installed in the casting machine structure, and also just the overall video and information presented along the way. I want to say thank you again for watching. I do very much appreciate it, and I hope you have a great week.